They had to shut this thing down. And that's where USAID came in. Check this out.
Let me ask you one thing before I forget. Privat Bank. I understand the governor of the bank is tentative about setting a date certain for the transition to take place. And I'm being told secondhand that, I don't know this is her position for sure, that she is unsure of a date until she gets an agreement from you. Here's what I've told them. I've told them to get back to her and set a date, and I would talk to you about the date. Because this is getting very, very close. What I don't want to have happen, I don't want Trump to get in the position where he thinks he's about to buy onto a policy where the financial system is going to collapse and he's going to be looked to pour more money into Ukraine. That's how he'll think about it before he gets sophisticated enough to know the detail. So anything you can do to push the Privat Bank to closure so that the IMF loan comes forward, I would respectfully suggest is critically important to your economic as well as physical security. I know it's difficult. I know Kolomoisky is a pain in the ass and a problem for everybody, but it really is critical.
Do you guys see what's going on here? We play this one first for a reason. Biden is basically threatening the Ukrainian president prior to Zelensky. Hey, man, your physical security could be at risk if you don't shut this down right away. Notice what he's talking about. He's afraid Donald Trump is going to start looking into the money going to Ukraine. That's what that whole thing is about. He's afraid of Privat Bank specifically, which is a bank alleged to be involved in the payments between Burisma and the Biden family through Hunter Biden. He doesn't want, very simply stated, he is terrified that Poroshenko is going to start asking President Trump for Ukrainian money. President Trump and his team are going to start looking at the money that went over there and find what? Maybe that USAID funds were involved in the attacks on Donald Trump, the collusion hoax, and the other stuff. You get what's going on here?
Despite of the fact that we don't have any corruption charges, we don't have any information about he doing something wrong, I especially asked him, no, it was the day before yesterday, I especially asked him to resign.
Congratulations on installing the new prosecutor general. It's going to be critical for him to work quickly to repair the damage Shokin did. And I'm a man of my word. And that now that the new prosecutor general is in place, we're ready to move forward in signing that new $1 billion loan guarantee.
Leave the balls on this guy? After threatening the guy, he now says, hey, that $1 billion loan guarantee the U.S. is going to help you out with. Yeah, now I'll go out and do a public signing as long as you make the prosecutor general looking into this whole thing Trump's looking into go away. That hat tip New York Post on that one. And again, that's all the same people, folks. The Democrats have had an unusual interest in one Rudolph Giuliani for the last, 8 years? Suing him, trying to prosecute him, destroying his reputation. You know Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York. Why? That's why. Because if you were watching and not listening to the podcast, if you're watching on Rumble, you'll see in that post clip that those tapes, some of them were released through someone, through Giuliani. So, of course, instead of actually investigating those tapes, which is the biggest freaking scandal of our time, they investigate who? Rudy Giuliani. I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if it turns out there's a USAID connection to that, too. Do you understand what your government has been doing in your name? Opening your border, actively terrorizing its citizens through censorship campaigns, funding operations around the world to get rid of Donald Trump and put his people in jail. We'll play one more. I'm going to take a break. Here's one last one for you, where the Ukrainian president prior to Zelensky, and by the way, Zelensky's never come clean on any of this. Zelensky knows what's happening here. The Russia-Ukraine war is a different matter. I'm just telling you, Zelensky could have shut this down, this impeachment hoax, right away by telling people about this. And he didn't. He knows about this. Here's Biden starting to freak out because the Ukrainian president prior to Zelensky is worried about the FBI looking into this stuff. But Biden assures you, don't worry. The FBI, we got that taken care of. Winky, winky, nod, nod. Check this out.
If it is true that FBI working with him, at least I want to know that.
No, they are not. I told you the FBI concluded he had nothing, and they stopped. That was it. There's no reason to talk to him again.
Okay.
I will check that and confirm that with you.
Now, again, here it is. Follow the money, folks. If you read the Insane in Ukraine chapter, in the beginning, you'll find out there's a whole other story about what the FBI was doing with a Soros group in Ukraine to make sure all this stuff went away. All of this stuff is documented in the book. There's an FBI agent who later went on to work with a Soros-affiliated group that was trying to push a do not prosecute list to cover all this stuff up.